Hey, seventh grade, all you wildcats and kittens. Hopefully everybody is good and you are looking forward to our start of Latin America. We are going to focus on the physical aspects of Latin America today, and we're going to look at kind of just basically the physical geography, what makes up Latin America, and some of the big landforms that we're going to be looking at on this part of the unit. So this is going to be our kind of kickoff for the new unit on this. All right, so I hope you're ready for some awesome Latin American landforms, and I hope you kind of pick up on some of the things I'm throwing down. So here we go. When we look at Latin America as a whole, it is going to be, when we look at the way the world's broken down to, this is our normal breakdown of the continents. You have North America where we live, we have South America where we live, Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia, Antarctica, our big seven. And when we study geography, I think if you remember from when we talked about this earlier, we will be doing this through culture regions. And that's because the way the continents are, you have a lot of cultural overlap. And so the easiest way to kind of keep things organized and when we're studying these cultures is to break them down into culture regions like this. So just a little difference. Here are our culture regions. And so if you notice North America, the Caribbean, Central America, Mexico, all of that, which is part of North America, is now going to be put in culturally with Latin America. This is going to be our focus for this unit. And so we're going to be kind of going through, checking this stuff out. And I'll bring this map back up a couple more times just because of, when we study the various parts of the world, there's obviously breakdowns for different other spots of it. So let's look at the land, the physical geography of Latin America. A lot of us are when we look at this, we're going to try and organize this into what we call sub-regions. We've talked about regions like you guys live in a sub-region. You guys live in the Midwest of North America in the Western Hemisphere. Well, here we're going to have Middle America, the Caribbean, and South America. We're going to kind of break it down to make it easier to study for us as we're going through all this and learning about this stuff in Latin America. The land of Latin America stretches from the Rio Grande, which is the border of Mexico and Texas, all the way down to Tierra del Fuego. It is literally 3 times bigger than the United States. Fun fact, the word Tierra del Fuego means the land of fire. So kind of a cool thing. It talks about all the volcanic activity and stuff. So if you're wondering what in the world Tierra del Fuego means. Longest mountain range in the world is found out here. It is the Andes Mountains. They are over 5,500 miles long. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and I'm going to show you some pictures on that. And then you've got rivers throughout the region that literally create large flat drainage basins. The largest basin in the world, the Amazon River Basin, is out here. The second longest river in the world, the Amazon River, is out here. So we're going to be talking about massive landforms when we're looking at all this stuff. You look at Middle America, that's going to be Mexico and Central America. And the dominating landform out here is an isthmus. So if you don't remember what an isthmus is, I don't know if they've talked about it before, but it's basically a narrow strip of land that links 2 larger pieces of land. And I'll show you what an isthmus is. But again, you've got mountains It's kind of a rugged territory. It's kind of got a massive plateau. You look at Central America, lots of mountains, lots of lowlands, lots of valleys, and then thick forests, rainforests and stuff, mountains, coastal marshes. All of this makes it rather difficult to transport goods in this area. So we're going to talk, and I'm going to, once we get into Mexico, we get into Central America, we're going to be talking about all the countries and the things and the economics of that make that area up. And frankly, some of the challenges that come with the human environment interaction that goes with that. So just a quick review. This is an isthmus. This is just kind of a picture I took with a drone. You can kind of see, here's the ocean, here's like the bay, this is the isthmus, you're on one piece of land. This kind of is the best picture of an isthmus. The isthmus is this area in the middle, all right? Narrow strip of land, two larger pieces of land. The Isthmus, this is the newspaper at the University of Wisconsin. I got to go there for a little bit. Love my UW, but that's also an isthmus. So you can have an isthmus take place inland. It can take place out by the oceans. It's literally just a narrow strip of land. Okay, so that's really what I want you to pick up on. And this is the region I'm talking about. This is the Isthmus of Panama. It's the entire country of Panama. But this is your isthmus, this narrow strip of land. You got the Caribbean Sea, the Pacific Ocean. Here's the Gulf of Mexico. And, in some areas, it gets as short as like 20, 25 miles wide. So it's not very wide at all. But I wanted you to kind of pick up on what we're looking at. The islands of the Caribbean are also known as the West Indies. If you remember like your stuff when you study like Columbus and European exploration, but they're going to divide that up into two subregions as well. There's the Greater Antilles, which are the big islands, and then there's the Lesser Antilles, which are the small islands, and then there's just the Bahamas, which is it's all. So the Greater Antilles is the big islands, like I said, Cuba, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Jamaica. The Lesser Antilles is a group of small islands. A group of small islands is known as an archipelago, all right? And that goes from the Virgin Islands all the way down to Trinidad. And then that third group is the Bahamas. That's another archipelago, which is just, like I said, a kind of a chunk of islands. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about on this map. Cuba is the biggest island in the Caribbean. It makes up over half the land area in the West Indies. Some of the islands are low-lying. They might be formed by, coral and kind of just developed by ocean currents and others, whereas others are created by volcanoes. They have rugged mountains, and they're volcanic islands. Some of the volcanoes are still active. They can be damaging, but you've got very good soil. You can grow all sorts of stuff. The bad thing about a volcano is the lava and, when it's blowing up. The good thing is it puts a bunch of good nitrogen. It really fertilizes and energizes soil so you can grow all sorts of good food. So you can get your plantains and you can get coconuts and, just really good food. St. Lucia, big recommend by me. So here's what I'm talking about. You see the archipelago that is the Bahamas up here, but these right here, these guys are your Greater Antilles, okay? The Greater Antilles, why isn't my highlighter working? The Greater Antilles, though, right here, this area right here, and it changed my color. I don't know why it did that. So anywho, but when you look at the Greater Antilles and what's going on, this area right here are your big islands. There's Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, which is two countries, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, Jamaica, big islands. Here's your Bahamas up here. Again, that's an archipelago. It's just a small chunk, if you will, of islands. And then over here are your Lesser Antilles. Look at all these little countries out here. Trinidad, Tobago, like I said, my favorite, St. Lucia, Guadalupe, Antigua, St. Martin, St. Kitts, Nevis, Aruba. All of these are wonderful, wonderful, beautiful islands, beautiful places if you get to go visit. My wife and I went to St. Lucia on our honeymoon. Big recommend. And then down here is obviously South America. Here's Central America, the Isthmus, and then Mexico's over here. And then here's our United States. There's Florida. So we're really not far from this territory. I want you to kind of get an idea that, oh, hey, we're right there. So just so you kind of get an idea of where this is at. Some people like to, my aunt loved to travel to Bahamas. I think some of you have told me you got family that goes to Bahamas and stuff. Great stuff. Some people like Jamaica. There's the Cayman Islands. All sorts of stuff going on out here. So as far as mountain ranges and big mountain ranges, you've got the Andes mountain ranges, which I said before, longest mountain range in the world. All right. And it creates what they call, the word they use down in South America is a cordillera. And that's a stretch that goes along the Pacific coast of South America, 5,500 miles. And then there's various valleys and, canyons in between. And most people live in between the mountain chains. You have plateaus and valleys, and most people live out here for that. So here's what I'm talking about. Here's an example of just some pictures from the Andes Mountains. I love my mountains. This is kind of a great picture of them, but they're very tall. And what I want you to pick up on, though, is they're very narrow. All right, you kind of see this. They get kind of thick down here in Chile and Peru, but as you go farther down, you can kind of see this stretches. This is 5,500 miles. It's a massively continental area. Here's your Tierra del Fuego down here, and then but this, you know, you kind of see where the Isthmus of Panama is from this Landsat. Kind of shows you just kind of the size, if you will. I was showing you those islands up close. Here's the Lesser Antilles. They don't look like anything on this. Central America, the Isthmus, barely a speck compared to what the Andes Mountains is. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea as to the length of this, okay? It's hard to kind of put that into size. And again, they're gorgeous, but they're very steep and they're very tall. Amazon Basin's a low-lying area. It's literally created by the Amazon River Basin, covers 2.7 million square miles. It is the largest basin in the world. It is the largest rainforest in the world. You've got highlands to the north and the south that border the basin. You've got what we call Brazilian highlands, which are an escarpment. These are steep cliffs. I'll give you some photos and stuff of that later. But they go down to that Atlantic coastal plain. This is what I'm talking about. This is where you see that escarpment. And this whole area is the Amazon River Basin, that massive area here. It starts out over here and it flows all the way out to the Atlantic Ocean. It is a massive area. You've also got tropical grasslands known as the Llanos. They go through eastern Colombia and Venezuela. This is a very fertile area. And you know, they have a lot of stuff. I'll show you where that's located. And then there's the Pampas. And again, a lot of farming taking place in Argentina, Uruguay, and they are grazing land. It's for cattle, it's for beef. Some of the best steaks you can get come out of Argentina. And they're known for their beef. They're known for their steaks and whatnot. So I'm going to kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. So here is your Llanos. This is the Llanos. You kind of see here's Colombia, here's Venezuela. And this is what it looks like. You kind of see kind of hilly, kind of can farm it though. And then the Pampas, a little bit different, much flatter. Kind of see, looks like a rancher's dream, you know, kind of a thing like that. So when you look at those things and you look at the physical characteristics of this area, we're looking at all sorts of different things. But the idea that I want you to pick up on is that this is a very varied land. It's got a lot of different stuff going on. You've got a lot of different climates. We'll talk about climates. We'll talk about culture as we proceed with this introduction to Latin America. But once we get all that going, we'll kind of dive deeper into governments and culture and food and traditions and things like that. But I just wanted to give you kind of a background on the physical characteristics of this. So hope you found this informative. I will see you at the Zoom, and let me know if you have any questions on the Pampas, the Llanos, Amazon River Basin, isthmuses, you know, the Greater Antilles, the Lesser Antilles, archipelagos, all of that stuff. So hopefully this was good for you. I will see you at the Zoom. All right. Take care, guys. See you soon.